Welcome to the Grendhill Chronicles podcast. My name is Don Bishop, and I write as T.S. Pedramon. And here with me during our announcements section is my daughter, Rose.
Hi.
And
yes, I have a scroll on my head.
She has a scroll on her head.
I made it.
She did.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, tell us about your scroll. It's fun.
Okay, so, yeah, I am planning to run a D&D campaign next year, and...
That's a long way away.
I mean, not next year, next school year.
Oh, it's still a long way away,
yeah.
But okay.
But anyway, I wanted to begin prepping, and I want to have a world map. So I decided to make myself a scroll because a map just, I don't know, I needed to. So I took 2 dowels, if they ever unrolls. I took 2 dowels and carved the end a little.
Needs a little bit more world on it. We've got a little bit.
Yeah, I'm working on the map. And yeah, I made a scroll. And it was on my head.
That's nice. Yeah, and she balanced it on her head.
It wasn't that hard, surprisingly.
Okay, so for the podcast today, I'm bringing you an interview with photographer Jessica Parry. And we're exploring, like, storytelling through photography. And so if you're listening to the audio, it really will be best if you can watch it on YouTube. If not, you'll still be able to get a lot of interesting stuff from this. Before we get to that, our announcements. Basically 2 announcements. First is our I say weekly, but I didn't publish an episode last week. So our quasi-weekly podcast or print book giveaway. So we'll do that in a second. And I have an in-person event next week.
CRRL-Con at the library.
That's CRRL is the Central Rappahannock Regional Library,
which is our library system.
Yeah, and so CRRL-Con is a mini like Comic-Con type thing that they do. It's just one afternoon. It's 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. And
it's free if you want to come, so you don't have to pay. Yeah. That's good. And I'm entering the cosplay contest and maybe the art show if I can figure out how to do that.
There is a cosplay contest, so come with your costumes.
And that is also free. You just have to get there, go to the registration table, and fill out a little short form, just like who you're cosplaying as, just a few details, and you're in. Yeah.
And I'll be there selling my books. You can come and get signed books. You can get fun stuff like, I believe you can see in the windowsill, there's some unicorn horns on a little display thing. That's behind us, but yeah, I have little 3D printed things for fun. But yeah, the little Comic-Con is fun, and I met a podcast guest last year there, William Galaney, and I met somebody else that I am still gonna have on the podcast. It's just been a while since we talked about it, but anyway, yeah. CRRL-Con. It's at the Howell Branch Library. So that's in, I think the address is Fredericksburg. Maybe it's Stafford. Yeah. It's somewhere. It's South Stafford, North Fredericksburg.
Just look up
Howell Branch Library.
Howell. Yeah, because there's also a Powell Branch, so that's confusing.
That's true. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, it's fun. But if you're gonna be there the whole 4 hours, bring food. Because I was very hungry last year.
Yeah, and didn't I let you get something from the vending machine? Or did maybe it wasn't enough?
I don't remember that.
Poor thing was hungry.
Well, anyway, yeah.
Maybe bring some food. Maybe bring a little bit of money for the vending machine. So yeah, CRRL-Con, if you want to pronounce it that way, you can. Nobody's gonna. But they have things there. They'll have the not cosplayers. Cosplayers, but
LARP.
Mune and Mist.
Yeah,
they're gonna be there again.
LARP thing. I've been once. It's fun. It's where you just
That's right. And that was another podcast episode.
Yes. If you want more about that, look up Mune and Mist podcast episode. It's just if you don't know what LARP is, it's just like
live action role play.
Yeah.
You get in costume and you act something out. So with Mune and Mist, they had these fantasy battles.
And it's so fun. And I accidentally messed it up.
Yeah, check out my LARPing episode from last December. And that Rose had a lot of fun. I took her to this one LARPing event, and I didn't really participate because I was trying to write a book, and I was under a real crunch. So, careful, don't shake the microphone.
Oh yeah.
Now for the book giveaway, we do a question of the week, and you guess a number. So that there's a magic number that we choose every week, and you guess a number between 1 and 1,000. The person who guesses the closest number wins, but you have to answer the question of the week to qualify to enter the contest. But it's chosen just by the number, and you also guess a letter of the alphabet for the chance to get the 2-book power-up. So, last week's winner was Greenhilda, and that's the screen name from my Discord server. You don't have to be in my Discord server to enter. You can tweet at me, you can email me, you can respond to my Instagram or Facebook post. But, so the last episode, I announced the magic number, and the person who was closest was Greenhilda, and she actually won the 2-book power-up. It was the first time that happened. And she only wanted 1 book, so she gave away her second option, and so I contacted the runner-up, and yeah, it was great. But so that was exciting. She won, and she won the 2-book power-up. Now, last episode's question of the week
Was that
so go ahead. Tell us.
So last episode's question of the week was, if you're going to pick a team for the ultimate high-stakes heist, who would you pick? What 3 fictional characters would you pick? And what are you trying to steal?
And we're going to share some of the answers that we got. So, JF Postumus said, any 3, Raymond Reddington, Parker from Leverage, and either Danny Ocean or the Saint. Possibly swapping 1 for Professor Moriarty, depending on my mood for the day. It would also depend on what is being stolen. Do we get information before we pick or after? That would also determine who my last pick would be. Certain people have better choices for minions than others. So I guess she's operating off of, like, she's trying to pick her team before she knows what she's stealing, which is, yeah, it is interesting. And so then she's saying, I'm tentatively going this way or that way, and how much lead time do we get after we find out what is being stolen? Now, Rose, what was your answer? What are you stealing?
I got this idea from my mom. I'm gonna steal the KFC secret recipe because I couldn't think of what to steal, and why not? And so my team is the Con Man, which Papa made up. It's for
oh yeah,
for this thing called Gohamas. You might see what that is.
The whole point is useless superpowers. What useless superpowers can you dream up, and then how
useless.
Nearly useless, marginally useful superpowers? This the Guild of Holders of Marginally Useful Superpowers, or Gohamasp.
It's quite fun to make up new ones in the car. But anyway, so yeah, the Con Man, he teleports, but he can only teleport with other people, and he swaps body parts, varying by how long he spent with that person. So
con is the Spanish word con.
Yeah,
because he can only teleport with somebody, and then he's very with them, like they swap body parts.
Yeah, well, anyway, so yeah, the Con Man, because, I mean, teleporting could be very useful. And Encyclopedia Brown, yes, that guy, because, I mean, he's a detective. That could be useful. And Bilbo Baggins, because he's had experience with heists. So, yeah.
Professional thief right there. That's a great answer. So, I don't participate in the contest, but I do provide an answer to the question of the week. So, my answer was, if I were to steal, let's see, baby Superman's spaceship. Okay, so I can't have Superman on my team because it's his ship, right? So I must be stealing it from him, apparently. So I'll put Goku on my team from Dragon Ball because he can sense power levels. So he can alert us, let us know if Superman is coming so we can abort and hide and whatnot. It's a heist. I'm not planning on a Superman versus Goku battle, but I guess that could be... I mean, it'd be good to have Goku on my side if eventuality came to be. Yep. So yeah, if they're not fighting, he's still useful because he can sense him coming, and then he can do his instant transmission and teleport us out of there. And if we are successful, Goku is strong enough to lift up the ship and carry it out of there. Now, I don't know if Superman is currently keeping his ship in Smallville or at the Fortress of Solitude or who knows where. So I'm going to need a tracker. So for my tracker, I nominate the Dunedain, Aragorn, son of Arathorn.
Not the other Aragorn, which can get quite confusing at times.
So any questions? I don't think so. Aragorn's on my team. And so one more thing, that word, fortress, right? So if we do need to get into the Fortress of Solitude, we might need to cut something that can't be cut easily.
Can't you just bring, like, wire cutters?
So, like I said, something that can't be cut easily. What if it's a wall? How am I going to cut a wall with wire cutters?
Well, I mean, you could have Goku bring a sledgehammer.
I could just have Goku punch through it.
Yeah.
But that'd make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
So I want somebody who can cut through things that might be impossibly difficult to cut through.
You could get a shard blade.
And that's one approach. That is one approach. That's a valid approach. But I am going with none other than the Dragon Reborn himself from the Wheel of Time. So Rand al'Thor, because he can weave Saidin to make us look like other people, so we have disguises, and his traveling weave, his gateways, cut through anything when they open up. So you can use gateways to cut things. Actually, late in the series, there's a guy who does leather work, and he like opens tiny gateways just to cut his leather. So that's my team: Goku, Aragorn, and Rand, and we're stealing a Kryptonian space vessel for infants. Now,
why do you even need that? That's what I want to know.
Hey, I don't know, but I need it. Okay.
Okay.
A. Groggett said, Catwoman from DC Comics, New 52, in case that matters. I don't know the difference. I'm a plebeian here. Juggernaut from Marvel Comics. Okay. Breaker of Stone Kurth version. Boba Fett from the Dark Horse Star Wars comics, post Sarlacc pit. And the target is the Infinite Improbability Drive from the Heart of Gold starship from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So he's stealing the Infinite Probability Drive. So let me see. Catwoman. Okay, Catwoman is his thief. The Juggernaut he's the unstoppable force. You know, he runs and he just bashes through anything. Boba Fett, well, he's got a jetpack.
I love how I don't have any, like, brute force on my team. It's all just, like, a detective, someone who has experience with that. I don't have brute force.
And, it's true. And Debbie Reynolds said, or Reynolds, sorry, I was reading it weird. My target is the TARDIS, but I want the Doctor. 10 preferably, but 9 or 11 would do. And Celebrimbor, just because I like his name, and Owen Pitt.
Just because I like his name.
So pardon me for being a peon or plebeian or unaware. Celebrimbor, that's Lord of the Rings, right?
I think it's the Silmarillion.
Well, yeah, sorry.
That's all I know. I got through like 5 pages of the Silmarillion and my hold ran out. I mean, my borrow of it ran out because it's so dense.
Okay.
It's hard. Very hard.
Celebrimbor was a Noldorin prince and the last of the line of House Fëanor who lived in Middle-earth. He was a ruler of Eregion in the Second Age. He was an elven smith.
So I'm guessing,
who was manipulated into forging the Rings of Power. Okay.
Yes, so probably Silmarillion or just Lord of the Rings backstory. Hey, who knew we were going to learn about an obscure, random
And
Lord of the Rings character?
Owen Zastava Pitt is... Larry Correa, huh? Larry Correa is the author. Owen Zastava Pitt. Owen Pitt, born in Merced, California, is a top-rated shooter using a variety of firearms. He's a monster hunter. Okay, so he's from Monster Hunter. Okay. I guess Owen Pitt is coming along in case they run into animate opposition on the way. And Celebrimbor is there in case they need to craft tools in order to sneak in and whatnot.
Seems more like a long-term
Now,
heist.
if you say what my daughter said, kind of an objection to having the Doctor on your team to steal the TARDIS. Like,
Yeah,
but he has the TARDIS.
Yeah, it was...
Well, hold on. Because the Doctor stole the TARDIS in the first place.
So are we, like, going back in time to re-steal the TARDIS? I mean,
Yeah.
if you already have it, it seems kind of pointless to me to just re-steal it.
I'm trying to remember, because the 12th Doctor, there was this episode where he was trapped in a castle and this thing was chasing him slowly. And
How could
the Doctor,
slowly chase?
yeah, just slowly, like slow and steady wins the race type thing. So there's a slow thing that chases him. Once it touches him, he dies, and he dies over and over again.
What?
But he has this thing. He kind of teleported in there. He transported in, and he sets up the transporter thing so that if he dies, he automatically gets recreated from the transporter thing. So he dies repeatedly. But every time, right before the creature catches him, he's like pounding on this wall because he can see the TARDIS is on the other side of the wall. But it's a wall of diamond. So like it's futile. But he relearns things throughout his brief stint in this castle. He relearns what's going on. He relearns the futility of what he's trying to do. And so like when he sees the TARDIS on the other side of this wall, he's so frustrated. It doesn't matter that it makes no sense to punch a diamond wall. So then he punches through it. 2 billion years later, he's free.
What?
Because like he hurts his knuckles every time, but he knocks like a few atoms off.
Because he kept
and then after that, like it wasn't like really the TARDIS, I think.
What?
But he turns out he was trapped in this micro universe. And he came out and he's back on Gallifrey and maybe back in time, and he had to steal the TARDIS again. I don't remember.
Well,
anyway,
whatever the case.
So
okay.
Yeah, the Doctor stole the TARDIS in the first place, and maybe the 12th Doctor had to re-steal it. So if she wants to have the 10th Doctor on her team to steal the TARDIS,
Sure, why not?
Yeah, sure, why not? It works for me. Okay, so who won? I don't know yet. Let's look at the number, and
wait. Before
we still won't know who won.
Before you say the number, can I guess the number?
Sure. So this will be your entry.
Yeah.
Okay.
My guess is
Because you didn't guess a number when you answered to steal the KFC recipe. You didn't guess a number.
My guess is 562.
Okay, 562. That's Rose's guess for the magic number. Rose, what's your letter of the alphabet?
K.
K. Okay.
I'm just guessing random things
562
right now.
and K.
Yes.
All right. So the magic number was. Read it for us.
Which one is it?
The bottom one.
399.
And
yeah, I was way off.
The letter of the alphabet was
W.
Okay. So who won? I don't know yet because the contest is still open while I'm recording this.
So
the
you'll
contest
see next time, I guess.
will be closed by the time you're hearing this. And if you want to know who won, then jump in my Discord server because that's where I always announce it. as soon as we know. Now, we need a new magic number for next week. You might remember last week or last episode, I was kind of wondering about whether to use this same random number and random letter generator because, like, if you had guessed in the 700s, you would have had a high likelihood of winning.
Yeah, there's a lot of
And if you had guessed the letter S, you would have had a high likelihood of winning. And so I was going to give it one more chance. Well, the one more chance was not in that range in either case. So I am going to keep using the same generator for number and letter. So, random number generator, maximum of 1,000. Don't say this out loud. We're not saying this out loud.
Yeah, because it's a magic number.
Wait,
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I want to enter this time too.
My pen isn't right here. Darn, I took it up. Oh, I have another pen right here.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me what it is when it rolls.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm generating there's the magic number. You can open your eyes. It's not on screen. Wait, hold on. Close your eyes again, because I want to make sure I get it correct. Okay, it is not on screen. Don't watch me write it down.
I'm not going to watch you.
Okay, and then the random number is...
Random letter?
Random letter, yes. The random letter is...
Something.
That one.
Yeah.
Okay, and don't
no
watch me write down
knows. I'm just sitting here with my eyes closed.
There we go. You can open your eyes.
Okay, yay.
Yeah, so guess the random number for the chance to win a free print book in the mail. I will mail it to you. And you can pick from the book menu at grendhill.media/prizes. And guess a random letter for the chance to win the 2-book power-up. And you can win 2 books instead of 1. But you need to answer the question of the week in order to qualify for the contest.
So what's the question of the week?
Question of the week comes from my interview with Jessica Parry. And if you keep watching, you'll see like some wonderful photos that she took. So
I have no idea if I'm still in the frame.
I came up with this question of the week during the interview with her. But you get a sneak peek from the interview because I'm going to tell you the question of the week right now. And the question is, what's your favorite photo that she took and why? So look at her Instagram account at Jessica Parry Photo or at her website. I don't remember the URL. It's going to be in the show notes. It's probably jessicaparryphoto.com, something like that. But you'll hear it later in the episode during the interview, and the URL will be in the show notes. So look through her pictures and tell us what's your favorite. Tweet it at me, answer in the Discord server, respond on Facebook or whatever. And tell me what's your favorite picture and tell us why that one grabs you. And yeah.
If there's one of an owl, that's probably my favorite.
I'm excited to see the answers for this because, yeah. I mean, listen to the interview, watch the interview. I think you'll really like it. And Rose, I think we're done. Come see me at CRRL-Con. Come see her cosplay. That's next week, Saturday, April 12th. I didn't say the date yet.
Yeah, Saturday April 12th.
12 to 4 p.m. at the Howell
Branch.
Howell Branch Library.
That's HOWELL.
South Stafford, North Fredericksburg area. It's free to come, and there's going to be artists and authors and LARPers. So overall, just a great event.
The LARPers, if they do say the same as last year, are going to do
a demonstration.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. And if you want to know which one is me, I mean, you'll know after watching the video, but I'm going to either be Hermione or Susan from Narnia. So we shall see.
Queen Susan from Narnia.
And then my sister, if I well, regardless,
She's gonna be Queen Lucy.
Yeah, Thistle's gonna be Lucy.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, that's it for our announcement section. It was a little bit long. The interview is also a little bit long, so I understand if you split it up in your listening or viewing. But catch the interview. Catch me at CRRL-Con next week, and we'll see you. Enjoy the interview. All right, so here I am with photographer Jessica Parry, who I met at the Rustic Charm Barn Art and Craft Fair last year, right, Jessica? So I think that was in April, maybe May or June. I don't remember, but yeah, let's let everybody get to know like what your background is, and yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Don, so much for having me. Yeah, I think it was I think you're right. I think it was maybe like early May of 2024 that we met.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Time flies. I can't believe we're already in
Yeah,
spring
and we
of
just
2025.
yeah, and this this event was like this. It was down close to the Rappahannock River.
hmm
We had our booths right next to each other. I got to see some of your pictures, and my daughters went and swam in the river. They had a lot of fun. But
hmm
yeah, so tell us about your background.
So, I am originally from New York. I am born and raised on Long Island. And I moved around quite a bit. I've lived in, I think, let's see, one, two, three, four, five different states in maybe like less than 8 years.
Mm.
But now I live in Northern Virginia with my husband and son, and this is home, and this is where we ended up.
Was
Um,
it the military moving you around?
no, actually, it wasn't the military. It was by that time my husband was already a reservist. Which made things a lot easier on that end. But we moved
Mhm.
around. Well, I moved out to California to the San Francisco Bay Area, which was where he and I met. And we met in art school. We got
Hmm.
married, had our son. We're living out there for a couple years, and we moved to Arizona, to the Phoenix area. And we moved there for him to work on his second degree. Then we moved to West Virginia for a job that he got picked up for. And then after that, the Army sent him back to school in Maryland for a little bit. And so my son and I went to stay with my parents in New York. Once he was done, he ended up here in Northern Virginia, and then we came down and been here ever since 2018, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bay Area. My wife
hmm
grew up in the Bay Area,
Oh, did she?
and yeah, I actually I have ties to Phoenix as well. I
Okay.
was a missionary in Phoenix for 2 years,
Okay,
and
very cool.
that's where I learned to speak Spanish.
Oh, all right.
But yeah, my wife grew up in San Jose,
hmm
and yeah, well, cool stuff. And so, um, how did you get into photography? Like, what was the attraction there? And yeah.
So you know what, I was always interested in photography, but I never thought of it as I don't know, I don't think I ever thought of it as an art form or like a serious thing to do. It was always I think I always saw it as just for fun. I remember being really young, like I don't know, maybe like 7, 8 years old, and I would dress up my cat and take pictures of her with my little like disposable camera, or my like little 110 camera that had the little like strange shape film cartridges. Do you remember those? They're like the
No.
flat looking cameras
Oh, okay.
from
Like,
back in like the 80s and 90s. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Um,
Okay, yeah.
so I had a couple of those I would play with, and then
The the film was a different shape?
yeah, it's not like 35 millimeter film, which is like the regular film that most people are accustomed to seeing and putting in a
Uh-huh.
camera that has film. This would come in a cartridge, and it was like a little like long piece, and then there was like a circular thing here and a circular thing here where the
Uh-huh.
film would go
Yeah.
from one to the other, and it's a smaller size negative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
And then I got into like junior high school age, and um, I love to just document my friends, just everybody, that I spent a lot of time with, kind of coming of age, being young. Our friendships, our relationships, just kind of always had a camera with me, um, and not really like trying to pose people and take pictures. I think like looking back now at that time, um, I think that was when I was kind of developing my more documentary eye for photography, because I like to kind
Uh,
of step away from what we were doing, sit on the sidelines for a few minutes, and just capture everybody as they were, because I just remember wanting to keep some of those moments for as long as I could, knowing that they wouldn't be there forever. And
yeah.
then I didn't really think about photography too much. I went off to college and was actually a fashion major for my first year, and then started taking some classes, realized I did not want to work in the fashion industry. It was not for me. And so I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do something that allowed me to have some type of uh, creative control, or maybe something in the arts, but I wasn't thinking about photography at that point. And then I left the school that I was going to in Buffalo, New York, came back home, and was working part time. Ended up finding out that the community college near where I lived had a really great photo program, and so I went and met with the advisor. And he was like, "Well, why don't you just take a couple classes, see if you like it, and then we can go from there." And that was what I did. I enrolled in a couple classes. And I built really great relationships with the professors there. I had a few really incredible mentors, and just right away I think I found my home and ended up enrolling full time in that program. After I graduated, I was trying to decide if I was going to go to finish my 4 year degree either at a school where I could do um, photojournalism and documentary photography, either
Mm-hmm.
like RIT, Syracuse, like a school like that, University of Ohio, um, or if I was going to go the more fine art route and go to an art school. And so I ended up going to the San Francisco Art Institute out in North Beach, San Francisco, California. And yeah, that's
Cool.
kind of
So like,
my journey.
yeah, I didn't know that yeah, that I mean, sorry, I'm talking over myself. Um yeah, it's a serious thing. So I have a buddy in the Marines, and we left the basic school at the same time. We came to cyberspace training in Georgia.
Mhm.
We rented a house together because the base didn't have building for us, and yeah, so like we and two other Marines rented a house together, and while I was there for 6 months, and unfortunately away from my family because they weren't gonna move the whole family for those 6 months, but uh, while I was there, this guy, he got a dog, so that was cool. We had a German Shepherd to play with, um, and she ate all the sand at the beach when we drove down there. But um, yeah, so he was also into photography, and so he's like buying these lenses and whatnot, and uh, but I didn't know, like, you're at a different level. You went to school for it. Um, so now how I liked that you said earlier that uh, you didn't you used to not really see it as an art form. it was more kind of, and I don't remember your words, but it was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. I'm going to catch it. At least that's what I was thinking when you
Mhm.
said something like that. And I was always fascinated with photography also. I didn't go down that path, but I I made an irresponsible purchase when I was 18. Irresponsible just because I was supposed to be saving my money. But I was delivering pizzas. I had a little bit of money, and I came across a digital camera at Kmart. And in 2002, a digital camera for $50 was not something you found often. So I made that irresponsible purchase because it was fascinating to me that you could capture images
Mhm.
and like put it up on a computer and you could print it out at home.
Yep.
Um, Now it was not great quality because it was a $50 digital camera in 2002. Um, but yeah, I think it's amazing. So when you now that you've like been through training, how do you and to kind of segue into um, the proposed topic for this interview is telling a story through photographers. How do you do that? Like how do you approach? Um, and I suppose there are different ways to different things to approach in the first place. Like
Mhm.
maybe you just want to capture beautiful colors, or maybe you want to um, capture a scene that invokes questions, like what was happening here, what's going to happen next. So,
Mhm.
sorry, back over to you. Um,
No, I think that's a great question. And I would say when I'm so I guess like I'm inspired by all kinds of things. So if there's something that comes to me, maybe like I don't know, a narrative that I want to convey or a theme I want to explore. Um, usually I'm the kind of person I don't like to. I'll sit with it for a little bit, sometimes even months. Um,
hmm,
I'll maybe like make some notes for myself. I'm not really like a journaler, although that's great. I totally encourage people to do that when they're starting a creative journey. I'm not great at holding myself accountable to do it for myself, but
mhm,
I'll take some
yeah,
notes, usually like in an app on my phone. I'll just have notes, and from there, over a period of weeks or months, as I'm going about my kind of normal life, um, I'll make edits to it and kind of curate it a bit more. Sometimes I'll even sit down and draw something out or sketch something out if I have a really specific scene in mind. But usually it's
mm,
just some ideas that I'll write down for myself to remember, or maybe it's a specific um, type of scenery that I'm looking for, whatever it may be. So from there, if I'm planning to go create something specific, I will start scouting for a space or a location. And then from there, I'll go and kind of coordinate and plan what I need to plan. Um, I would say that's about half the time. The other half of the time, I just kind of organically let the experience of, um, I guess, exploring wherever I'm at um, kind of guide me. So
mhm,
I do a lot of back road driving. Not so much right now these days as I just started a new job, but generally when I'm, um, in a place where I'm more regularly making work, I will
yeah,
drive some back roads. I spend a lot of time in abandoned buildings, hospitals, private homes, like old farms, like all kinds of things, the woods,
yeah.
just all kinds of places.
I remember a little bit of that when we were at the art and craft fair at the Rustic Charm Barn at
Hmm.
the Rappahannock River Campground.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, I remember seeing like an old building or an old room from a building, um, and it makes me think of like there are a lot of old abandoned houses around here, and you don't see that so much out in California. So the Marine Corps had me in San Diego for
Hmm.
several years, and things are kind of done differently on opposite coasts.
Yes, they are
And
definitely.
yeah, and like in the San Diego area, the real estate values are such that it's worth it for a flipper to buy an old decrepit house and make it not decrepit anymore. Like they put a lot of money into it, but then it sells, so it's worth it to them. It works out.
Hmm.
And so you don't see the old decrepit houses because they get renovated. Um, whereas out here, and I'm in Virginia. I think you're also in Virginia. I don't remember for sure.
Hmm. I am.
Um, yeah, and it rains a lot more here, so things are more prone to rot, and the land values, at least where I am, aren't so high. So like I'm living in a house that has more than double the square footage of a house I had in San Diego, and it cost us. Uh, sorry, now I'm remembering prices and doing math, but it cost us less, and the house is that the square footage is more than double, and the plot that it's on is I don't know, at least 6 times. It was tiny
Wow.
over there. So things are. I mean, and this isn't huge here, but it was tiny there. Um, but yeah, so like if you'll see houses that just get run down and they're abandoned,
Mhm.
and I just realized I'm rambling. So there are
That's
old
okay.
houses. There are old houses around here. I'm sure you've taken some pictures of
Mhm.
those. Um, have you done any like railroad shots? Because I think that would be another good spot.
I've definitely not for a long time, maybe, I don't know, maybe in college. Um, I've definitely like been on or around the railroad tracks.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you, how do you how are your pictures used? So I know that you sell prints.
Mhm.
If I recall, you sell framed prints. I know you sell bookmarks, and you do like a different development technique.
Mhm.
I don't remember the explanation. I don't remember if you fully explained it, but uh, and we swapped, and if I recall, I gave you a signed book, and I know that I got from you a bookmark with butterfly prints on it.
Mhm.
So how do you, let me hear it from you rather than me stumbling. Uh, so frame prints, bookmarks. What else do you do? How do you portray or display?
Sure. So yeah, I sell some framed prints. I sell some non-editioned unframed prints. And then um, I try to show my work in exhibitions, galleries a few times a year, whenever I'm able to. And yes, I sell bookmarks too. Those I made using the cyanotype process, which is a UV light exposure process. So there is a cyanotype chemistry, which is sensitive
Mhm.
to UV light. So I'll coat paper. It has to be acid-free paper, so like a watercolor type paper or anything that's acid-free. I'll coat that, wait for it to dry, and then you can put either objects on it to make what's called a photogram and stick it out in the sun, and it will expose. And then you get these really like rich, kind of cerulean to Prussian blue tones in your images. And then after that, it's just a really easy water rinsing process. There's no other chemicals involved.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's something that's very easy to do at home. It's easy for people to do kind of anywhere. You can do it inside, you can do it outside. I built a UV light box for myself, and so now I have a light box. So in the winter, when the days are short and the sun's always on an angle, it's not ideal for sticking stuff out in the sun. So now I
Hmm.
have a light box, so I can just stick it in there, and it's perfect. The light's directly overhead.
Do you want to show us some of your pictures?
Sure. Yeah.
And maybe
Let's
you can tell
see.
the kind of story behind you thought this is interesting, or you set up the shot like this, or however, whatever you want to express about them.
Okay. So I'm gonna share, let's see. So this is what the cyanotype process looks like. And so these are
I
all
love those blues.
photograms, like I was mentioning before. So I took mostly just like natural objects. I would take ferns, or I collected some cicada wings when we had that big brood of cicadas here in Northern Virginia
Mm.
a couple years ago. And um, I lay them on the paper after it's been coated and dried. I put a piece of glass over it, like from a picture frame, and weigh it down, keep it flat, and then I expose it for a period of time. And then after that, I bring it back inside and I just rinse it in some cool water for a few
Hmm.
minutes, and then I hang it to dry.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the details we can see on the ferns and the cicada wings.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was really excited by how those came out, and that one ended up being really popular all summer. I sold a lot of those.
Hmm. Cool.
And so I just kind of tried.
Uh,
This is very much an experimental process. So I just kind of tried all kinds of objects and different things.
for the wild carrot trio, like those are
Mm-hmm.
wild carrot flowers, I
Mm-hmm.
guess.
They are,
Um,
yeah.
so you have to cut the flowers off and then lay them down on the paper?
Hmm.
Because you said you covered that with glass then.
Exactly. Yep. So that's exactly what I did. And I will, I actually, what I'll usually do if I'm using anything that's any type of plant, I'll press it for a couple days before. So I'll put it on some, um, what is it called? Like parchment paper. You know how
Mm-hmm.
like you use in baking, like you put it on the tray for cookies. I think it's parchment paper. So I'll put it on that, and I'll put it in a just inside a really heavy book, flatten it for a day or two, and then it just I find that it stays a lot neater and nicer when I do that than when it's still like not flattened, when it's very much still like a fresh plant.
Yeah. Cool. And oh wow. Okay. So for anybody who is listening and not watching on YouTube or Substack, you should pull it up on video and look at these. Um, all right. And oh, cool.
And then this set here, these I did with
Seafoam.
like I'll I guess like a wet cyanotype process. So instead of letting the chemistry dry, I will coat it and then I'll expose it right away. And it just
Mhm.
it gives it more texture, different depths in the tones of the blues. And so some of these I used all kinds of like different um, materials and things to kind of manipulate the chemistry. So everything from like blowing bubbles, like soap bubbles from soap and water, to um, using like pieces of foam. Let's see what else. I think I used some cinnamon and some turmeric in some of these to um, like
Hmm.
play with the colors a little bit.
Yeah.
So I like that it's a very experimental process, and you can do this hundreds of times and know your chemistry really well, know your materials and how to get your exposure time, how to get everything looking the way that you want. But you change something just slightly, and you can get a whole different look, a whole different creation. So it's a lot of fun to do.
Cool.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. I'm here for whatever you want to show us.
Okay. Let me see. How do I get out of here? Oops.
I love the shades of blue in cyanotype.
I know.
Ooh.
It's it's really fun to be able to manipulate the blues.
Uh-huh. What's the URL for your website?
This is my print store. It's a pixie set. So it's a like separate from my website, but it's linked through my website. So if people go
Okay.
to my website, it's jessicaparryphoto.com.
Uh-huh. And
And
Parry is Parry for
that's right. Yeah.
listeners out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and there's the link to the store right there at the top.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Um,
then my Pixie Set gallery. Okay. Got it.
okay. So I think I'm gonna share this page on my website next,
Uh-huh.
and maybe I'll just talk about like one or two of these images really briefly.
Black and
Um,
white. It's
yeah.
interesting how black and white can be so intriguing. And
hmm
it's like it's I don't know. I love color. And I have right here some colorful pens. Colors are great. And yet when you remove all the color, it's fascinating. It's not suddenly boring. So
No, I agree,
sorry, go ahead.
and black and white can be very dynamic. Um, and I've worked with um, like digital images that I'll convert to black and white. Um, like specifically making that choice for that image or that set of images, or and I've also done a lot of work with black and white film, and which
Mm,
that's what you're shooting, that's what you get. So you have less control over that aspect of it. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so I guess um,
What do you feel about these pictures that you take? Like, how do you looking when I look at this one at the upper left, the black and white photo of a hallway, and I see doors open. There's a woman walking, has been maybe blurred out, or maybe just the photography process was a slower exposure, and so she is blurry. But like, what's the story you imagine when you take a picture like that?
yeah, so this one is a perfect example of we were talking about earlier how I will just kind of I'm out exploring, I show up at a place and I am inspired by what I see there. And so this was in an abandoned psychiatric hospital. Um,
Hmm,
and
no way.
this was one of the top floors. It's definitely one of the cleanest hospitals that I've ever been in. A lot of them are in pretty rough shape, and this one's in much better shape. So it was um, pretty interesting to be able to walk through and still be in these rooms that were, they looked old, but they weren't crumbling. The ceiling wasn't falling in on itself. It was safe to be in there. And so it was just kind of amazing to be able to walk around and um, feel the energy there, imagine the history, who lived here, what they went through. Um,
Hmm.
and so I kind of let that guide me. I like this image, for example, is taken with a slow shutter speed. I'm here by myself, so I didn't have a model to work with. So a lot of times I will um, get in my own images, and
Uh-huh.
I don't consider things like this a self portrait. Like I've definitely done self portrait work before, but like I don't consider something like this to be a self portrait. It's more performative, and so
Yeah.
I'm kind of
Yeah.
getting in and I'm being this character that I'm imagining.
Yeah, I get it. Like it's not a self portrait. You're not there to show what you are like or reveal something about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're there to tell a story, and well, you're the person on hand that you
Mm-hmm.
have to act it out.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I don't know, like I walked into this hallway and I did not set this up at all. All of the doors were halfway open like this. And just the symmetry of having, both sides was really interesting to me. So I don't know. I knew I wanted to do something with a figure moving somehow through the space, and I tried several different things, further back in the image, closer to the camera, just to see, how it came across. And this I landed on as the final image from that set because I
Hmm.
felt like it was what I really wanted to make when I stood right in the spot where my camera was and saw the space for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And sorry if I derailed you when I
No, it's okay.
brought up this particular image. If you were going to show us something else,
No,
um,
that's yeah, no, that was one that I did want to talk about. And then actually right next to it I have these two images here that are from the same set, and there's like a small series that I had put together. So this is one that I went to a space and I had something in mind. So I had a narrative planned. So
uh-huh.
this was this really
And you're leaning
large,
against a big tree.
yeah, this is this really large abandoned farmhouse in the town that I live in. And it was really like where I live. I'm in Fairfax County, so I'm in, the suburbs of Washington, D.C. And there's
Mhm.
really this was um, like dairy farms. This was all dairy farms, a few just maybe 50, 60, 70 years ago. And so um, just in that time, it's this area has been really, really built up, and it is there's nothing left that really reflects this other than we have all these street names around where I live that let you know it was like part of this farm and that farm, and there's like all kinds of names that hint at either like the family whose farm it was or that it was a
Uh-huh.
dairy farm and things like that. So there's still like some remnants of it, but I think that most people who live here now, unless their families are from the area, maybe they probably don't even recognize that. But anyway, this was really like the last farm that was still standing. And when we moved here, I remember driving past it and seeing it and being like, oh, like wow, that home is incredible. I like can't believe it's in this really visible area. I need to go explore that and check it out. And I did, and I would come here sometimes and just walk around the property. There was all of this land because it actually really was a farm. There were um, several large barns on the property. There were um, I guess like silos or for grain probably. It looked like spaces where they would have all the cows set up to milk them. Um, Also just like still had like piles and piles of what looked like old decaying hay in the back.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and like there were amazing old trees like this. So it was just kind of a unique thing to find right in the middle of the suburbs of Washington,
Did
D.C.
did you yeah. And you mentioned like the names. I've seen there's a street in Stafford called Stafford Mews, and there's a street
Mhm,
in Spotsylvania that I saw the other day. I don't remember the name. It was two words, something Muse.
mhm.
And so I'm like, okay, I need to know what Muse really means. And it's according to Google, a definition from Oxford Languages, a row or street of houses or apartments that have been converted from stables or built to look like former stables. So like, uh,
Interesting.
okay, So I don't know if these actually had mews on these streets, but I can see the reference to
Mm-hmm.
history of the local area, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love
Now,
that.
in this particular shot,
Mm-hmm.
there's a smaller tree kind of in the foreground on the right,
Mm-hmm.
and it has some branches in front of you, just a little bit. Was that intentional for some reason, or is the you set up the angle for the purpose of the fence and the tree to have that space in the center, and the little one just was incidental?
So it was there, and I knew I wanted to do something with this big tree. Um, but I actually I feel like I do that in almost all my projects. At some point, I will shoot with like something kind of more in the foreground.
Hmm.
It's just, I don't know. It's maybe just an aesthetic choice, but I like to shoot through things. Um, so
That's
yeah,
that's you putting your
yeah,
pottery stamp on the bottom of
yeah, I definitely was conscious
the
of it
top.
at the time. But I
Okay.
didn't know like until I actually took a couple shots and then was able to, walk back and check the back of the camera where on the figure it was coming across, but I knew that I wanted to kind of have that a little bit on the side in the foreground. I wasn't sure if it was going to go over the figure or if it was going to be just off to the side, but I
Okay.
like to use some kind of framing device when I can.
Okay.
Hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's a bit of flavor to it, you know.
Mm, thank you.
Um, Rather than just the really strong, powerful, like if you're cooking, there's the sugar, um, you like a little bit of nutmeg, maybe some cinnamon, and a dash of uh, I don't know, something spicy just to give it a little tweak. So yeah, I'm all for it. This little dash of flavor on the in the photo.
Thank you. So yeah, this image is just one in a set that I went in with an idea in mind and had thought about it for a little bit of time. And then I made this not too long before this house was taken down to and this tree to build a bunch of McMansions. So now on that property, there's probably like, I don't know, there's got to be like at least 15 houses. Um, and they're massive and they're just all on top of each other.
Mhm. Yeah, my wife and I always we lament when we drive by a new development where they're clearing the forest to put in these houses with their large yards. Uh, I'm really glad that we landed a spot with trees. Um, and it makes me sad when I see people cutting down trees for no apparent reason. And if you're going to use the space,
Hmm.
I get it. You know, when I drive around Northern Virginia and I see cleared land that they're growing crops on, I'm like, okay. But if it's just grass, I'm like, why? And if there are places where I drive by often and it's just grass and there's never anybody out there except to mow it. Like,
What is it for?
I guess it's just for the view. And eh,
I've
it's too bad.
seen also driving around this area like smaller patches of wildflower meadows,
Hmm.
which is great because then, the butterflies and the bees and they can
Yeah,
do
and
what they need to
the,
do.
we need the nature. We need nature to
We
be
do.
around us.
We do.
So we get a lot of mosquitoes,
Hmm.
and it's kind of like what are you going to do about the mosquitoes? And I was sad to see the next door neighbors having an exterminator over just to spray, like blanket spray for
Hmm.
mosquitoes. Which if it only affected the mosquitoes, I'd be all over. That's fine. I'm not sad about killing mosquitoes. But we did some research, and it's hard on the bees. And
Yeah.
so, like last year, we were thinking about doing something like that and having somebody come and spray. And I did a little bit of research. I'm like, nope, nope. We like the bees, so we'll have to approach it a different way. And we have a bird feeder outside of our kitchen window, and we get so many birds, and it's. I mean, I love seeing the animals around, you know. And this
Mm-hmm.
morning, my wife was taking our daughter to school, and she called me because just a little bit up the road, there was a turtle in the middle of the road,
Oh
and
my gosh.
she asked if I could come and help it and
Mm-hmm.
get it off the road. And I get there and I find out it's a snapping turtle, and
Oh no.
it's like this big. It's my first real live wild snapping turtle, and I'm gingerly trying to pick it up from the sides of the shell, and
And not get bit.
well, yeah, definitely not get bitten, because that would not be pleasant. But like as I'm trying to pick it up from the sides, I quickly see that it's able to reach me with its paws, with its claws. So I'm like, how do I do this thing? And I'm kind of wondering, because now it starts tracking me, and it's turning around with
Oh
its mouth
no.
open. I'm like, okay, well maybe I can guide it off the road. And then the neighbors came out and they're like, oh, is that the snapper? Yeah, he comes out every year. We usually move him with a snow shovel. I'm like, good idea.
Yeah.
Um, sorry, I got off topic again. Um, yeah, so nature's great. Back to you.
Nature is great. I love it. Um, maybe
And we don't.
now,
I'm sure we could keep going all day if we wanted to. We don't need to. If you want to like hit one more highlight or
sure. Do you want to maybe let's talk about are you able to pull up my Instagram and then maybe we can see a little bit better so I can talk
yeah,
about that last image. I'm gonna stop
yeah. So
sharing.
for viewers, we had a little bit of technical difficulty here. I've loaded up your Instagram page. There it is. Now I need to do screen share. And there we are. Let me see if I can, before I share that, okay, yeah, because we don't need to see the side menu on the screen. And
And are you able to like click on the image itself and pull up just the image?
yes, I'm
Okay, thank
trying
you.
to get rid of these suggested accounts that Instagram wants me to follow. Okay, whatever. I'll just scroll down. Okay. So there is your Instagram page.
So can you click on the top right with the girl being thrown in a stairwell?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I thought it would open bigger without comments,
Yeah, I
but
I made it a
that's
little
okay.
bigger.
That's okay. Um, so okay, to preface this one, so um, when I am telling images or when I'm telling a story with images, I may have something specific in mind that I want to say or questions that I want to ask, but it's not super important to me that um, the viewers understand exactly what I'm trying to say or convey for myself. I like
Mm-hmm.
to keep things a little bit ambiguous so that it's open to interpretation and people can apply things to, as they see fit. Um, so this image was taken in the stairwell of a building in New York City years ago. I was at a workshop, another photographer's workshop actually, at an additional photographer's studio, who's actually a very well known photographer in the industry. Her name is Lindsay Adler, and she let us use her studio for this this workshop.
Uh-huh.
And so I knew that I wanted to use, like, I like texture in my images. I saw the stairwell when I came in, so I knew I wanted to do something in this stairwell. And everybody else was, using the studio or going out on the roof or like using the windows. And I don't know, I really like this little corner of the stairwell. I saw a lot of texture, a lot of color, different tones that I just were really speaking to me. And I cropped it in really small because I like kind of tight. I wanted it to be just enough to convey where are we in time and space, but
Uh-huh.
not give additional background context of what's going on behind, who or what is standing at the top of the stairs. And so
Because you want to leave it to the viewer's
exactly.
imagination.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the model that I was working with, her name was Shelby. She was fantastic. And I told her I'm gonna make it look like you're being thrown into off the stairs into the wall. And so she was not harmed at all in the making of this image. And there's no AI. This was more than like 10 years ago, probably almost 15 years ago now, before AI was around. It's just a few different images that I took all in the same
Hmm.
setting and then put together, composited in Photoshop using some layer masking. And yeah, that's really it. And so I knew I wanted to um, just use really basic tools to say something, to tell a story, or to infer a storyline. And so I'm, using motion here in this image. I'm using texture, color, and just, again, like, really minimal exposure of the space.
Hmm. And
So
are you hoping that the viewer simply feels something, or are you hoping that the viewer comes away with some kind of moral message?
not necessarily. I think when I was creating this, I just kind of wanted them to think, like, what happened right before this? How did this happen? Like, what was this? Because this is
Uh-huh.
a woman, she's floating in the air. Like, there has to be something kind of fantastical going on. Like, this isn't something that just happens in normal life. But I like to use this image as an example for storytelling because it's like the things in the image and the things used to make the image are so simple. You really don't need a lot. If anybody um, anybody's listening that is interested in photography or interested in art and just creativity in general, it's really, you don't need a lot to get started. You don't need to be an expert or have technical training. When I started school, I did go and work in the studio, and I got all this technical training and learned how to do everything right so that I could then go to art school and learn to undo all that and break all the rules and um, you know
Hmm.
make things like this. So
Yeah. Have you seen the from SpongeBob SquarePants? They had an episode where there was a book called The Rules of Art,
no, I didn't. I
and
don't think I remember
Squidward,
that one.
yeah, Squidward takes art very seriously,
Oh
and
yes,
trying to
yes.
get
Okay.
SpongeBob to learn the rules of art,
Hmm.
and SpongeBob uh, doesn't know a thing, doesn't understand anything. He goes and there's a block of marble, and he taps it with a chisel one time, poof, and there's like Michelangelo's David. But yeah, no. So like we talk about the rules of art, and they're there not as rules that you have to follow. It's kind
Mhm.
of rules of how we see the world. It's knowledge about how we see the world and how we understand that the world works, so that you can shake the frame and you can massage it in order to communicate something
Yes.
through your art.
Yep.
So like when it comes to art, rules are made to be broken.
Exactly. 100%.
Okay. Well, yeah, this is fascinating. And like I said, we could keep going, but um, listeners' attention spans are probably only so long. But um, yeah,
This
thanks
was
for coming
great.
on the podcast. A few things
Hmm.
before we wrap up. Um, I'm gonna make a fool of myself right now. Um, and I forgot to mention this before we started recording. I do something I call the question of the week. I'm gonna make a fool of myself by coming up with a question of the week on the air,
Okay.
well, on the recording, um, whereas thinking about it carefully beforehand. So I do a book giveaway with each podcast. It's supposed to be each week, but like I told you before we hit record, I didn't publish an episode last week. Whoops. And there have been a couple of those weeks so far this year. I think last week was the third time. But so a question of the week. I do a book giveaway. You answer the question of the week, and then you guess a number between 1 and 1,000, and a winner is chosen based on the number that was guessed. But you have to answer the question of the week to qualify, and then the winner gets a free book. Not just mine. I have a menu, and a few other authors are on there as well. But the winner gets to choose their book from the menu. And okay, so question of the week, something related to this conversation. So other questions, and you can suggest, like, feel free to suggest. So I've had some questions like, if you could teleport or make plants grow, which power would you choose?
Oh, that's a good one.
So
Um,
something
hmm.
related to photography. Okay, so how about so here's the question of the week is, what is your favorite photo from the Instagram page Jessica Parry Photo? So all you listeners, viewers out there, go visit Jessica Parry Photo's Instagram page, and take a scroll through these and uh, share which one is your favorite and why. And that'll be the question of the week this week. I just realized I'm still screen sharing, um, which is fine. It's just I think we've I think it's good that I still had it until now. Yeah, so all you viewers and listeners and whatnot out there, tell me what is your favorite image from that Instagram page. Again, that the account is Jessica Parry Photo. Jessica is the standard spelling. Parry is Parry, and photo is the standard spelling. Um, and guess a number between 1 and 1,000 in order to win a free book. Now, okay, to hopefully stop making a fool of myself. I did say before we hit the recording, I was going to invite you to create a character for
Yes.
inclusion in my books. This character will appear at least once. I may modify the character in order to fit properly into this world that I'm writing. You can give me a name. You can give me a physical description, a personality description. So you can even
Okay.
make up a pet, which I've had a couple of people do so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So my character is going to be a cat. He's
Okay.
a gray and white cat. Um, he speaks, um, and he's a detective.
I didn't see that one coming. The detective. Okay. Um. All right. Is there a name for this cat or
Detective
uh,
Mittens.
detective?
Yep.
Okay. Probably has some white paws,
He
or
does. Yes, he has white paws.
got to have the mittens.
Yep.
All right. Great. Awesome. Thank you. let's remind people where to find you. We just told them where the Instagram page is. Tell us your website.
Sure. My website is jessicaparryphoto.com. It's all spelled the standard way. Parry is Parry.
Uh-huh.
And there's a link there. If you go to store, you can go to my print shop.
Awesome. Yeah. And I guess that's a wrap, right? Let me look at my notes. We did that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on. And I'm going to hit stop on the recording. But for everyone out there, we'll catch you next time on the Grendhill Chronicles podcast.
Thank you for having me.